evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, and we're here this evening, as we are on every Wednesday, for 2 hours of commercial-free talk radio. We thank you very much for being with us and for being a part of this show. Can we cut the music, please? Can you hear me? Thank you. And for being a part of the show as we, of course, try to bring something to you that we think is of interest. And certainly, at some point, we open the lines and we engage with you and with your comments, your conversation, your topics, and the various matters that you have to put on the table. Now, tonight, I must apologize. I expected to have a guest with me to release a big song for Culturama. He hasn't shown up, so I assume that's not going to happen tonight, and so I'll have to move on because, as you know, we don't have the ability to have breaks for the show. We have to keep the show going. We have no commercials, and so I apologize for that. I was myself looking forward to the release of this Calypso for Culturama 50. And on that note, Culturama 50 is in fact shaping up very nicely. Our venues are almost complete. We are hopeful that we will be able to deliver brand new venues for our Culturama festivities this year, and that those venues will serve us for many years to come. And so we certainly look forward to that. The work at Pinny's Beach is also coming to a close, and just last night they tested out all the street lights and all the lighting, and we were very, very happy for that as well. So that is where we are, and so we continue to work at it and to do the very best that we can in order to get to a point where we can offer our people something of quality on the island. I'm being told that my guest has shown up late. I don't like to interrupt the show, but I guess I have no choice on this occasion. If he's going to come, then he has to come. Thank you very much for being here. I gave you specific instructions, sir. I asked you to be here at a particular time because I know we don't have a break. So you're interrupting the show now because you were late. You see what the problem when late? When Noah closed the door, people can't get in. Anyway, we have a guest with us. He's showing up late. I hope this is not the way he shows up for the Calypso finals. And I have with me no one else. Okay, it's not, sound is not on. Let me see if I can help. Is that helpful at all? You can hear it now? Okay, good. We have someone with us who has shown up, and I wanted to deal with this at the top of the show, so let me go ahead and get that done. I have no one else with me but the man called Giro. Giro, introduce yourself and tell us why you're here.
Good night, Premier Brantley, and good night to your listening audience. My name is James Hendrickson, better known as Mighty Giro, and I'm going to take part in the Culturama Calypso show this year, and so I'm here to release one of my songs tonight.
Well, what is the name of the song? What can we look forward to?
Well, the song is called The Master Plan.
The Master Plan.
Master Plan. And what it is, I thought I should write something that would help to promote the Culturama for this year. I listened to all the different discussions and so on and recognized that there's a certain theme for this year. And so I said, well, okay, I'm going to write something along that line and help to promote the Culturama.
Okay, well, this is the 50th anniversary of Culturama, and certainly I think most of the artists, most of the performers, the cultural icons, they're all coming out. You are no stranger to the Calypso arena.
Not at all.
So you would have sung when?
I sang in the 70s, and then there was a long break, and I came back in 2017, and I sang up until 2019. Well, you know, there was the pandemic and all those things, and I had a break again. But this year, I felt I had to do something.
All right. Well, let us then take a listen. Do we have the song queued up? We have the song queued up. Give us again, Giro. What is the name of the song?
The song is called The Master Plan. Just let me say this. You know, the Culturama is unique to Nevis. However, you will notice that in the song, I say, the people are coming to enjoy the niceness and the sweet sugar, because I find that we cannot ignore the Sinkage end of the Culturama, you know, the participation of the Sinkage people and so on, you know, and I find that, you know, I want to kind of bring people together rather than separate people. So that is what the song is.
Well, sugar is also part of Nevis's history.
Of course.
Some of us forget that as well.
Of course.
All right, let's hear the song then. Mighty Giro, brand new for 2024.
from all over. Some to feel the niceness, some to taste the sweet sugar. We hope you will have a real good time, my friend. Enjoying some local food with some saucy and common. And for this 50th anniversary, we want you to make a plan to invest in your country, don't matter your possession. We want you to see this picture, my friend. But that is the master plan. taste the sweet sugar. We hope you will have a real good time, my friend. Enjoy some local, some killer bee and come on. And for this 50th anniversary, we want you to make a pledge to invest in your country, don't matter your possession. We want to see this picture, my friend. For that is the master plan.
Master plan, that is the master plan from Giro, brand new for Culturama 50. 2024, Giro is no stranger to the Kaiso Arena. He has come here with something. Giro, you think you're good enough to win the crown for Culturama 50?
Well, I don't come to compete this year, I come to compete. And I know I'm going to do my best.
Well, you know what they say, sometimes once you've done your best, you leave the rest. Because that's all you can do is do your best.
That's
so
it.
That is Giro. Giro, I realize this song, well put together. I love the melody, love the chorus. You throw a little jab there. You said to the guys basically that they must look out because you're coming. I sat this afternoon with King this and that, and you know, he is a veteran in the arena. I'm sure he'll be coming hard as well. I am sure King Astro, who had said he would hang up his boots, he has been enticed to come back for the big 50. And then you have, of course, I believe, King Hollywood, who's there and has become a favorite in recent times. You have the other Calypsonians as well. Some have not crowned before, but they're all certainly there, and they're bringing their best forward for Culturama 50. I gather we have some big prizes this year as well, some significant prize money, increases in prize money, some very enticing prizes that are available for all the shows. We have tried to step up, and the Culturama committee has tried to step up to really mark the significance of 50 years of Culturama. Having been around Kaiso and been around Culturama for those years, what is your sense of where our culture now lies, where it stands, and your own part in it as a Calypsonian?
Well, I think the Culturama is evolving. And I like what I see and what I'm hearing so far. You know, some people, there are certain aspects, especially like the parade, some people has been complaining a bit about it. But one of the things that we have to understand, that if we don't change, it means that we would, well, we would have been all the way back to Adam then. You know, change is a part of life. What you don't want to do is to lose the essence of the Culturama. But of course, we will have to adapt here and there, and you have to allow the younger people to play their role, because eventually they're the ones who are going to take over. What I would say though is that we have to, the older one, you know, teach them the real thing that it was before, and then you mix the old and the new, and then you have a nice blend.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, I did promise Giro some time on the air tonight, and he has come. He has released his song. This is one of his songs that he's performing for Culturama 50, and I'm sure as the days and weeks go by and as we get closer to Culturama, you're going to be hearing more and more music, more and more, not just Kaiso as you've heard now, but a lot of soca, a lot of jumpy tunes are coming out. I see Casanova and those bands have brought out new tunes. People are really coming out for Culturama in a big way, and I want to say there's a level of excitement here that I've not seen in a very long time. People are motivated, and I really do believe that once weather holds and all goes well, we will have a fantastic Culturama. So Giro, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for your role and your part in it. And obviously, I will give you the last word, but I just want to commend you You did tell me you're going to bring something. I must tell you I didn't believe you. I said, Giro, you're just pulling my chain. He's not going to bring anything. But you have delivered, and I'm not too big a man to apologize publicly. Because when you tell me you're bringing something, you even gave me the name. If you remember, you say you have something called a master plan.
Yeah.
And you did tell me something as well. You said, give you the crown one time. Because this is so better than anything else. I might as well just give you the crown. But anyway, that is Giro. So, Giro, your final words.
Yeah, well, I just want to say to everyone, come out this year and enjoy the Culturama. To the nations abroad, come home. We are going to do our best to make you happy. I also want to say thanks to my producer, Mr. Abonati Laibod. He was the one who did the production for me, and I think he did an excellent job. Once again, I say thank you for having me, Premier Brantley, and thanks to the Division Public for listening to me, and you can look forward to me doing something good, and you will enjoy it this year. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you very much. That is Giro. Giro, I'm sorry we don't have more time, but I did promise you some time, and we are happy that you were able to get through the song. Normally we wouldn't interrupt the show, but you're Giro, so it is what it is, and so I'm grateful that you've come.
Yeah, thanks again, and thanks to One Radio as well for having me too.
All right, good. So that is Giro, who released his song, The Master Plan, and that song was released for Culturama 50. We certainly look forward to seeing and hearing more from him and from the other Kaisonians as well. I think it's going to be a ding-dong battle this year in Culturama. What they say is going to be pong for pong and blow for blow this year in the Kaiso show. So that is how it's going to look, and so we say thank you to Giro for that. Now, at the top of the show, ladies and gentlemen, let me just send out some greetings. I want to send out some greetings to Diane Libert of Market Shop. They say normally you don't say women's ages, but this, I'm reading the message as it was sent. Diane Libert of Market Shop, happy advance 70th birthday. She'll be celebrating tomorrow, the 13th of June. This is coming from all your sisters and nieces and nephews in England, all the way in England. And you know, it's Lisa who sent me the message, so I'm letting it all out tonight that your sisters, nieces and nephews are saying, happy birthday, Diane Libert of Market Shop. You're turning 70. What a beautiful year. 10. You have made it. That's what was promised in Psalms, I believe it is. You have made it. And so I wish you another 10. May God continue to bless you and keep you from your sisters, your nieces and nephews in the UK, but also from us here at Von Radio. And while I'm in the birthday mood, let me also send a huge shout out to my dear friend, I call her my second mom, Vernice Weeks. She's listening right in Brooklyn, New York, and she's celebrating her birthday next Monday. Next Monday, she said, June 17th, I think next Monday is. No? Yes? June 17th. And so, happy birthday, Vernice, when it comes. I know that I am a little early, but obviously by the time I come back on the air, your birthday would have passed. So, happy birthday in advance, and this goes out to you, and it's coming from all of us here in Nevis, all of us here on Von Radio. Vernice Weeks celebrating in Brooklyn. I know the children are going to give you a fabulous time for your birthday when it comes next week. Let me also, since I'm in announcement mode, say to our friends and family in Canada, I know that they listen faithfully to the show, people all across Canada, especially those in places like Kitchener, all of those there, whether you're in Ottawa, you're in Toronto, wherever you are, Ontario, Canada. I get confused when I go to Canada, but I know some of the names. Let me just say that. I want to say good evening to Jeff Coe and to everybody in Canada, Janet Maynard, the whole Nevis and Sinkits crew there. Well, guess what? I'm coming to Canada. I'm coming to Canada, and I know there's been some bad weather in the area, but once the weather holds up, I hope to be in Canada with you for this Sunday, June 16th, 2024. We're having a grand event there at the Venue Event Space, 2800 Highway 7, Vaughan, Ontario. The Venue Event Space, 2800 Highway 7, Vaughan, Ontario. Time from 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. this coming Sunday, June 16th. The St. Kitts Nevis Circle of Care is continuing its work to provide for the seniors and indigent of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is a fundraiser, and it's $130 for your ticket. That includes a 3-course meal. It will be an elegant affair. And for tickets, please contact Leo Estridge at 416-252-7681. That is Leo Estridge, 416-252-7681. Sherma Daniel, it looks like. I don't see a number for Sherma, forgive me. And then I see Janet Maynard, 416-616-0297. And then Tara Liebert, and I don't have Tara's number either. Or you can go to skncoc2008 at gmail.com. skncoc2008 at gmail.com. And so again, for tickets, Leo Estridge, 416-252-7681. Sherma Daniel, Janet Maynard, 416-616-0297, or Tara Liebert. And again, you email skncoc2008 at gmail.com. Circle of Care. Now, I will be there as the guest speaker for the event, and the event will be featuring none other than our foremost artist here, Mr. Vaughn Anslin. Vaughn, I believe, is already on his way, and I hope to get on my way shortly. I therefore will be out of country attending this very important event, fundraising event for Circle of Care, and I hope to be back as quickly as I can thereafter. The Honorable Eric Evelyn will act as premier in my absence, just so that you know that the Circle of Care has really done a phenomenal job looking out for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. As they say, the elderly, seniors, and indigent of St. Kitts and Nevis. I well recall during COVID in particular that they sent container after container load of goods, cleaning supplies, linen, just all kinds of useful gifts for our hospital and for our flamboyant home. And they do it in Nevis, they do it in St. Kitts. So it is really a worthy cause. I want to commend Janet Maynard and her entire team. They continue to do excellent work. And I look forward to seeing our friends and family in Canada. Oftentimes the Canadians complain that we as the leaders don't come often enough. Well, Canada, I'm there. I'm going to be there this weekend, and I'm going to be there this Sunday coming. And we will be at the venue event space, 2800 Highway 7, Vaughan, Ontario, from 2 p.m. until 8 p.m. Ticket prices are only $130. That includes your three-course meal, and I really hope you show up, because I think it's a great initiative put on by us for us. And this is intended to help people back home, and you have already demonstrated how much you care by all that you have been doing. And so thank you very much for that, and I certainly look forward. I'm hopeful, prayerful that we fill the audience, we fill the hall, and that everybody who can comes out to that event. I look forward to updating you on what's happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. I look forward to indicating what possibilities there are here for our diaspora to invest, to those who might be interested in returning home, those who might be interested in contributing in some way. And I hope that I have an opportunity to mix and mingle where I can answer questions and engage with you. At the end of the day, there is no difference between Nevisians and Kittitians at home and those abroad. All of us are citizens of this country, and all of us have a part to play. It matters not whether you're playing your part from here in Charlestown, here in Bastia, or you're doing it in New York City or Ottawa, or you're doing it in London or Leeds or Manchester, or you're doing it in Berlin or Munich, or you're doing it in Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, wherever you're doing it. You are Kittitians and Nevisians, and you have a contribution to make, and you have a role to play in building this country. Let us also not forget that those of us who went away, those who went in the early years, that flood that went during the Windrush era, that went to England to rebuild England after World War II, those who would have gone to the United States, those who would have gone to places like Bermuda, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, Curacao, St. Martin, those who would have gone even to Trinidad and to Panama to work on the Panama Canal. In fact, some of us ended up as far off as Cuba. Those of us who went, one, to seek a better life, and 2, to take care of those of us who stayed back at home. We ought not to forget. Sometimes when I hear our people talk, I say our memories are very short. We ought not to forget. Sometimes when our people come home, there are some at home who want to disrespect and disregard them. We say things to them like, oh, you just a come, where you been all the time. You don't know what go on here. Hush them out. And I'm saying to our people, remember that those who went away were the ones who used to feed us when Nevis didn't have a payday. Sometimes we forget. Sometimes things are good now. And a lot of us trying to play stush. We try to forget that we pretend, forget, we say, how, what I used to call it, swank, taste. A lot of us now say we're drinking champagne. We're drinking Eldorado 15 on the rocks. We're drinking Johnny Walker Black Label, Blue Label, Green Label, Purple Label, all kind of label. And we say, swank? What's that? Well, swank is sugar water. And a lot of us used to drink swank. So I want our people not to forget. I'm not saying that you want to go back there, because we have progressed and moved forward. But don't forget. And don't forget that those people in Canada, those in America, those all across the Caribbean Sea, those in the United Kingdom, that they took care of us. I have told the story here on the show a million times that my siblings and I, right there in Brownhill, Christmas time, used to count the barrels going into Brownhill on the truck. Count the barrels going into Brownhill on the truck, because in those barrels you had a little food, a little clothing, a little everything. And one thing, the way we used to live, is that when the barrel came, everybody who was in the neighborhood get a little something. It could be a pack of macaroni and cheese. It could be 2 tin of Vienna sausage. It could be a tin of beef. It could be 2 elbow macaroni, a little pack of rice. It could be a little sweater, a little pants, a little shirt, a little t-shirt, whatever it was. Everybody got a little something. And Nevisians, I keep saying to us, let us not forget. Too many of us now are in a world of pretense. We act like we can't remember. We act like we don't know our name outside latrine and what it is to go to school barefoot. A lot of us are in that mode of denial and pretense. I am not saying that I want us to go back there, but I am saying to you that it shaped us, it built character, it made us work hard, it made us ambitious, and we are where we are today by the grace of God. But part of getting to where we are is those thousands and thousands of Nevisians. In fact, they say that there are more of us outside than inside who send home that little money every month. If you all were like us, and I know many of you were, because everybody in Nevis was poor. We used to get our little groceries from the little shop there in Hanley's Road. Irvin Thompson, OT, as well, I couldn't call him that. I had to say Mr. Thompson. But I used to hear my mother and them refer to him as OT. And we used to get our little thing. And when you go, you know, them days you had no supermarket. So you was over the counter. And you say, well, mommy said give me a pound of cornmeal, half pound of sugar, pound of rice. And you get your little thing in a paper bag. They weigh it out and they put it in the bag for you. And you go down the road. You don't have no money to pay, you know. I want Nevisians to understand this, you know. We had no money to pay. We used to take food on trust. Now they don't use that word. They say credit. But trust or credit, same thing. You take the food and you promise you're going to pay later. And where the money used to come from? My father, blessed memory, used to send home a little money every month. And when that money came in the mail, them days, is the mailman going to come down the Hanley's Road, walking down, and he bring that money. If I recall, I believe the mailman was called Mr. Brown. I hope I have that correct. But the mailman used to come, and when he bring that little letter from New York with that little money, my mother would go and cash it And that is when now you start to pay your bills. You pay Mr. Thompson what you owe him, you pay whoever had give you 2 eggs, you pay whoever had give you 2 pieces of meat, you pay your bills. That's how things were here. I remember Tiny Drew. The day I stopped remembering Mrs. Drew is the day I die. She's now of blessed memory, right there from Government Road. Coming down Hanley's Road with her suitcase on her head. You know what she doing? Making clothes, especially school uniform, and bringing them to sell. Again, my mother would say, Mrs. Drew, Lord, Mark need 2 pants or 1 pant, whatever the case may be. And you know what? Always I marveled at the fact that Mrs. Drew, a poor woman with her family to support, would tell my mother, take the pants and pay me when you can. We don't have the money to pay. Pay me when you can. And so I will get my little short pants to wear to school. Gone up there to infant school, chapel school, I think it was called. And when that little money came from America, my mother would pinch it. Cause you got to last, you know. So you pinch it, you pay, you pinch. And it's so Miss Juno will get a little something for making my little pants and shirt and making my sister tunic so that we could go to school. We should not forget, because those things did not diminish us. We were poor people, but we never thief from nobody, we never kill nobody, we never rob, we never break in no place, we never committed any crime. We went to school, we went to church, our parents instilled in us to do the best that we can. And we had no criminality and no crime and no badness and no wickedness in the community. We were poor. But sometimes we have to ask ourselves the question, were we worse off then or are we worse off now? Because now you have a big car, you have a big house, but you have to build up the walls so high. You have to put in security camera. You have to do all kinds of things to secure yourself. Back then maybe we didn't have anything to secure, so we never bothered secure nothing. And that was how we lived. But we were not diminished by it. Poverty did not define us. And those of us who had the privilege of going abroad took care of those of us here at home. Many people don't know that the way that this immigration thing used to work, is that what would happen in the case of my father, Irvin Brantley of blessed memory. He left and went to England. And he went first, and then after he was able to find a way to make a way, he sent for his wife, he sent for his children. And that's how it used to work. And so people over time migrated to the UK, to Canada, to the US, as the case may be. And I believe that this is an important lesson for us to remember. So when our people come home, as many of them will be coming for Culturama, when they come back here and say they're returning nationals, they come back to build a home and to live, let us welcome them, because a lot of us would have dead hungry if it wasn't for them. And that is the honest truth. And too often it seems to me that we get so big now, everybody's so high and tighty and so powerful, everybody wearing the best, drinking and eating the best, that we forget from whence we came. And we say we don't want anything to do with that because that somehow is not consistent with who I am now. And praise God that we have made progress. But we have made progress because there were people along the way who helped us. And I will always be grateful. I mentioned some stories, and people say, oh, you always have said this and I always have said that. I do that because in repeating these stories, I remind myself, but I also say to others out there, because I know my stories are not unique. You think we're the only ones who used to trust from O.T. Thompson? Tal. Other people used to trust from Mr. Thompson too. Maybe they're too proud to admit it, but I'm not too proud because it's the truth. You think Miss Drew used to come on Hanley's Road and only us she don't trust she clothes? I am sure other people used to take clothes from her and tell her they're going to pay her later too. But that was our community. And if people think that is only my family used to get a little something sent back from overseas, they are also not being truthful, because all of us here used to be lining up to get something. And so sometimes when I see the non-nationals who now live here, they go on to Western Union or whatever their money services may be called, and you see they're lined up and some people grumbling, watch them, they come here, make the money and sending the money out the country. Well, now that we used to do. Isn't that what we used to do? We used to send the money from America and from England and from Canada, send it come home to feed our families here. That is what we used to do. So how come now? We got all kinds of things to say. We're willing to condemn people and say all kinds of things about people. Forget where we're from. So I like to remind us all, because I believe sometimes that little humility is important. Because no matter the strides we've made, all of us now say we're a doctor, we're a lawyer, we're engineer, we're business owners. We got money now, we got car. Huh? We got car now. I used to walk 2 miles from Brownhill to Charlestown Secondary School every morning and back in the afternoon. I will always be grateful to Christine Springett and to our beloved Deputy Governor General, Hailita Liebert, and her husband. You know why? Sometimes when we left home, we not got no money for bus, we not got no school bus, rain start to fall. They would always stop and give Vicky children a lift into town. And I will always be grateful to them for those gentle mercies, that generosity, because they not had to do it. They didn't have to do it. But that is how we lived then. And so a lot of people out there got all kind of tail on the back. Like them forget how swank tastes. Well, I can't forget how swank tastes. Me not drink now. But there was a time when swank was it. And when you get a little piece of bread, and if you're lucky you get a piece of relish in that bread, you knock it back with some swank and you say thank God, because that was our life then. And we ought not to forget from whence we came. So, I'm going to Canada because I'm going to meet our people in Canada. And I'm hopeful that they come out so I can thank them for all that they have done to make life right here in St. Kitts and Nevis better for us all. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 20 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock. I have a lot to talk about tonight, so please bear with me. Today, we would have attended the funeral service for Mrs. Daniel, the deceased wife of Dole Daniel, the mom of Jamal and Janisha. And it was well attended. It was there at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, just there past Nisbet Plantation, in that area. And it was for me quite a touching and moving service, as so many people paid glowing tribute to Mrs. Daniel and the contribution that she would have made to that area. And I want Dole and the entire family to know that our condolences continue to be with them. Loss is a very difficult thing to deal with, and all of us deal with loss in different ways. But certainly I would want them to know that my thoughts and prayers continue to be with them and the entire family, and that we are hopeful that the prayers of the multitude will comfort them in this time. When the funeral was over, I went outside, and as I was preparing to leave, a lady rushed over to me, beautiful woman, and she said, Premier. And I said, hello, how are you? She said, I came from all the way over there to meet you. I said, oh, have we met before? And she said, yes, we've met before, but you may not remember me. She said, I'm visiting from New York, and I've brought my children with me. And she said, I just came over from where I was to greet you and to say thank you. And I was taken aback. I said, thank you? What are you thanking me for? And she said, I want to thank you because in all of my life, I never thought that I could see Nevis, our little Nevis, looking this good. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that touched me deeply. It is perhaps one of the nicest things anyone has said to me. And I say that because she then went on to say that she was in the process of relocating to Nevis. She was coming home. And you see how it ties into what I was saying earlier. Our people who went away did what they needed to do, and many of them are now coming back home. But when she said to me, "Thank you," thank you, and I said, "Why?" And she said, because she never thought in her lifetime that she would see Nevis looking the way that it looks. And that touched me deeply. You know why? Because in this thing called politics and in this thing called leadership, it is a thankless pursuit. Sometimes no matter how much you do, sometimes no matter how much you help, sometimes no matter how much you make things easier and better for people, there is never anything called gratitude, and there is never anyone who is prepared to say thank you. And when this lady expressed to me today that having come from New York where she's living and come back home to Nevis, and she could bring her children and see the development and the advancement and the unfolding of what is happening in Nevis. Those two words, thank you. Because I never thought in my lifetime I would see Nevis looking this good. I just want to say to our people that there is work to be done, and there is always improvement to be made. But do not ever succumb to the naysayers and the purveyors of negativity, the natural neighbors of negativity who constantly give you a diet and a drumbeat that everything in Nevis is bad, that everything in Nevis is wrong, that there is nothing good about this island called Nevis. And you know why? Simply because they are not holding the reins of government today. That is all. And so the entire Nevis is a barren land. There is no opportunity in Nevis. There are no jobs. Everything on this island is bad and wrong and terrible because what? They're not in government. That is the only reason. And we have seen it play out time and time again, where every little negativity, they blow it up and it becomes a headline story for them, because they feel that their job is to highlight what is negative while ignoring what is positive and pretending that the positives do not exist. You hear the noise. Nothing happening in Nevis. Nevis dead. Nothing happening in Nevis. You know something? In that vein, someone shared with me a letter. See if I have it here on my phone. I like to speak from a position of facts. A letter. The letter is dated June 5th, 2024. It is addressed to the Honorable Albert Bryan Jr., the Governor of the United States Virgin Islands. And it is on the letterhead of someone called Senator Samuel Carrion. Senator Samuel Carrion, writing to the Honorable Albert Bryan Jr., the Governor of the USVI, on June 5th, 2024. And you know what the letter is about? The Senator is saying to the Governor, Governor, the state of WAPA, which is the utility company in the Virgin Islands. Let me read it here. I write this letter with the greatest sense of concern for the people of the USVI. In recent weeks, we have experienced an unprecedented number of power outages throughout the entire territory. As a result of these repeated outages, which have been blamed on a wide variety of issues, our people have truly suffered. Businesses have been shuttered. School has been dismissed and our community has endured untold stress and economic loss. On April 24, 2024, you issued a state of emergency declaration in order to avert an energy crisis. Sir, that energy crisis has not been averted. It is here. The U.S. Virgin Islands must make full use of the emergency declaration. That said, I implore you to immediately request technical assistance from the United States Army Corps of Engineers as to the operations of our power plants and grid. And he goes on. I only refer to this. I don't know who Senator Samuel Carrion is, and I count Governor Bryan as a friend, somebody I know. But the point that needs to be made, in my view, is that here is a senator writing to the governor on the 5th of June in the U.S. Virgin Islands. You know what he's doing? Raising with the governor the situation in the United States Virgin Islands in relation to power. And in speaking to our many friends and family there, I'm understanding there's a similar situation there in relation to water. In fact, in St. Croix, a state of emergency was declared. You know why? Because the lead in the water in St. Croix was, I believe, 50 times higher than what is allowed under international WHO, World Health Organization standards. St. Croix, I'm told, still has the old cast iron pipes carrying water throughout the territory. You know why I say these things? Because I think all of us would agree that the United States Virgin Islands has a much larger budget. They have the benefit of the United States federal money to assist them. They have a much larger economy than Little Nevis. But in Little Nevis, we don't have anywhere near those levels of problems in relation to basic infrastructure. Our water, we have replaced all of our distribution with modern polyurethane pipes. We no longer have cast iron pipes here in Nevis. No asbestos, none of that in Nevis anymore. We have upgraded all of our storage facilities and, as I said, our distribution network. And we are now on our third phase, which is to drill for more water. If the minister is correct, Minister Brand, the drillers should be in Ireland this month of June to start operations to drill some 9 wells that we're looking at. That is what we're doing in Nevis. So yes, we've had some water woes. They are not every day in most places. They have not been a constant situation for us. They have come on because of a number of factors which we have described. But most importantly, we have a solution that we're working on, and that is already in train. We've already sent the mobilization money to Trinidad and Tobago to this company. I believe it was over $600,000 that we paid to mobilize them. And so as a small government, that is what we're doing. Electricity, yes, we have the occasional outage, but there's no state of emergency to be declared in Nevis in relation to electricity. Nevisians know electricity going off is the aberration. That is the rare occurrence, and when that happens, invariably either Nevlik has a planned outage because they're doing maintenance, or there is some problem that has developed. But we don't have the systemic difficulties that some other places have. And I don't need to go all the way to the United States Virgin Islands. We just need to look at our sister St. Kitts. Because St. Kitts has had, in fact, a friend of mine called me from St. Kitts, and he said sometimes when I hear Nevis people over there cussing and making noise, he said, I start to laugh. I said, well, you laughing? He said, because it's every night water go off in some places down here. And they say, no, this is years. He says, so when I hear somebody in Nevis say, oh, man had no water for 2 hours and the sky is falling, he said, I start to laugh. All I'm trying to say is that the reason why sometimes we notice that there's a pothole is because the rest of the road is so beautifully paved. And so we fixate now on the little thing that is wrong, and we try to blow that now and make it appear to all and sundry that that is what defines us. We don't talk about the 20 miles of paved road. We take a picture of the pothole And we say, look at this pothole. Imagine Nevis as a pothole. Well, where in the world don't have potholes? Where? My good friend there in England sent me a picture one time. We were talking about potholes. And she said she not careful the whole car falling. And that is the great United Kingdom. A first world power. They have potholes in England. My God, unbelievable. New York, there are potholes in New York. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. The way sometimes we hear our people talk about Nevis, call it down to nothing. Say all manner of things here. I have recounted on this very show the story of American actress Nia Long. Came to Four Seasons, I did not even know Nia Long was here until she was already here. Had nothing to do with government. The woman came on her holiday, writes to her millions of fans on Instagram, my heart belongs to Nevis. Not my words, Nia Long's words. My heart belongs to Nevis. Well, who tell Nia said that? Lord Jesus, the whole army of them rise up like a ant's nest. When Nia Long know about Nevis, when you hush him out, when you shut him out, he come down here and stay in a hotel, when you go over dress up and cotton ground and ask people how they living, why you know this, why you know that. One of them even say home story about Nia Long and who take Nia Long man from her. That is the level to which they were prepared to go, to chastise a woman who came, saw, fell in love with our island, and said, my heart belongs to Nevis. Well, who tell us that? Who tell us that? Anything that is bad, that is negative, they latch on. They latch on and they hold on to it for dear life. But the good things that are happening, the jobs that are available, the non-nationals that are flocking into Nevis, finding work and sending for the cousin just as how we used to do. Sending for the sister and brother just as how we used to do. There's no mention of any of that. The roads, the development. I ran against an opponent recently, and that opponent drives on a brand new road in Brownhill every day to get to and from her home. And she said nothing happening in Brownhill. She talked about how much poverty. Nevis is full of poverty. That is the depiction. That is what they want to project. I am not suggesting that Nevis does not have poverty. Show me any place in the world that does not have poverty. I have traveled to the great United States, the richest and most powerful country in the world, and I've gone to Washington, D.C., the seat of power, and I see people sleeping on the bridge, people sleeping in the parks, people sleeping at people's doorsteps. I go to New York City, people are sleeping in the subway. There is poverty. In fact, if you look in the Holy Book, the Good Bible, it talks about the poor. Because there's poverty. I understand that, and yes, it is our effort to try to eradicate it as much as we can. But do not seek to characterize our island and to suggest to the outside world that somehow people here are living in despair, because that is not the case. That is not the case. And I've seen so many people who have never left this island pull themselves up from their bootstraps to the point where today they can show something. Today they can demonstrate that they're employing people, they have a business, they have assets, they've raised their families, they have a nice home, they're driving a nice car, they're able to go with their families and take a vacation. All of these things, which in my own time I thought were unheard of. If you had talked to me as a little boy down Hanley's Road, or even a little boy in Brownhill, I would say vacation, people going off to Disney World, or what name so. We thought that some of these things were beyond us, but they're not. And so when I hear these negative, natural neighbors of extreme negativity continue ad nauseum about every little pothole and every window that need painting in Nevis, that becomes their swan song. That is what they talk about. They say, let us sing a song and raise a toast because there's a pothole in the street or something has happened on the island. that we can spin in a negative way, and they go to town on that. But have you ever heard them say something good? Do you know that just last week, in the month of June, that Four Seasons was sold out? Will you ever hear that happen before? Usually, by April, May, the season starts to die. Four Seasons is now telling us they're sold out again. I think it is late July and into early August. Will you ever hear that? Where? Because things are happening and good things are happening. And so when this beautiful lady said to me, thank you for all that is going on in Nevis, for all the development that I can see. And that is why, I've said to the team, I want Nevis to look its best. We roll out all kind of programs. We say to people to spruce up your homes and your villages and your communities, because we know thousands of our people will be coming home for Culturama and our homecoming celebration this year. And when you come, we want you to see the best of your island, because it is your island. It belongs to you. See the best of it. We have not got everything right. I would be foolish to suggest that. But we have got more things right than we have got wrong. And the monies that we have spent and the investments that we would have made, only the blind would not be able to see. Matter of fact, I would suggest to you respectfully that even if Stevie Wonder were to come, he would say, yes, this is good. He would say this is good, because I'm sure that Stevie would be able to see what some who are walking around here with 20/20 vision can't see. They can't see. And I just said to our people, be steady, be calm, ignore the noise, and look about you. Look at Brownhill Road. I moved to Brownhill when I was 9 years old. I'm now 55. I might tell you that was 46 years ago. It took this government, and I'm so proud that under my leadership as the area representative, to get Brownhill Road done. Just transform Brownhill. And that took probably 50 years. But through the grace of God, we have done it. Look at Hanley's Road. Look at Shaw's Road. Look at Brazier's. When you go to Butler's, have a look. And you don't even have to go all the way to Butler's. Look at Bath Village. And anybody can tell me that Bath Village has not been transformed. They are not telling the truth. Look at Bath Village. And I said to the people of Bath, who have always been there with me, I am not going to turn my back on Bath. And Bath will be developed just like everywhere else in this island is going to be developed. Thank you, God, that when I drive in Bath now, I feel proud. I feel proud, and I want when Bath people come home, they get lost in Bath. That's what I want, I want them to get lost in Bath, because this is the level of development that we have brought. You look at our water taxi facility. You look at our police and fire station in Newcastle, built by us and for us. Our new Treasury building in Charlestown. You look at all the construction that's going around on Nevis, new homes being built everywhere. Right now in Charlestown, you have various construction sites. You have the police station being done. You have the Chinese building being done. You have another building up there by the Methodist Church being done. You have so much construction that is going on, and more to come. Take a look down at our Bath stream, see what we're doing. Take a look at the Malcolm Gishard Park. Today I reflected that I wonder if Nevisians remember that there was nothing called the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park. You know why I asked that question? Because every two can knock no is MGR Park. You don't have to accept my word for it. Check it out. Last year, it was 365 days in the year. I believe it was 297 days the park was booked. It is the most popular venue on the island of Nevis for those having their weddings, their ceremonies, their seminars, those having picnics, those having parties. MGR Park. And yet, Nothing happened in Nevis. Look at it. It is without a doubt the most beautiful facility available to us in the Federation. I'll go that far. A place that was built in memory of Malcolm Guichard, who only yesterday, on the 11th, we would have commemorated the 17th anniversary of his death. And my ongoing heartfelt thoughts and prayers are with Yvonne and the children. And I could never forget my brother Doc in New York, and Mignon, who's here, and all the relatives of Malcolm. But that was Malcolm's idea. And I was so grateful that under my leadership we brought the idea to life. And look at it now. It is the most utilized facility and venue in the Federation, the Malcolm Guichard Park. And we decided we're not going to stop there. Through the assistance of our friends from Taiwan, we're building out the entire facility. Let me tell you all something. When you see people land here for Culturama, I hope pennies don't sink, because it is such a beautiful area for leisure, for dining, for music, for families, for beach, that I believe when you look at the restaurants down there, you have Nevis Street Brewery and Trattoria, you have Weekends, you have Lime Cabanas, you have Chills, I think it's called, you have Turtle Time, you have Zanzi, and you have the most famous of them all, Sunshines. They're all there. Everything just a walk. And you have an opportunity to really enjoy Nevis in a safe and beautiful surroundings. I have predicted that that whole area there in Pinnis, the Malcolm Guichard Park area, that will become the hub of entertainment, dining, and family fun here on the island of Nevis. In fact, perhaps in the Federation. And I am hopeful, I'm speaking it into being because I'm hopeful to see it manifest itself. And yet, nothing happening. Nothing happening. Things so bad in Nevis. When Social Security is going to say to us that Nevis has more jobs than employees. You hear me? Let me say it again. More jobs available than workers. And as a consequence, a lot of the workers are working 2 and 3 jobs. That is how they're picking up the slack, by working more than one job. That is what is going on. And so I just want our people to appreciate that we must continue to work. I want to thank that woman, beautiful woman today, for what she said. And sometimes it is small comments like those that encourage those of us who every day are bombarded with the negativity to say, let us continue the good work, because at the end of the day, by a man's works he shall be known, and it is the works that shall define us. And so I call all of my team and I say to them, let us continue to work, put our shoulders to the plow and do what is necessary to build and develop this island called Nevis. And at the end of the day, let the historians write and let them judge. Because once you would have done your best, and you would have done your best for the land that you love, you would have done enough. It is 6 minutes past the hour. I have a lot more to say, but I'll open the lines. I know that some people might be waiting to get in. Numbers are 869-469-1616 and 1700. Those are the numbers to call if you want to be a part of the show. And I go right to the lines and say, good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Sheriff.
Good evening to you.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
I want to tell you about the black sheep where he had last time.
Maybe
We
find the
forgot to
sheep.
talk about Mr. Belloc and the pickup when he went to school.
Well, all of that too, that is true.
And then I talk about Navy Soul, Luton Hall, lots of patrol up there, all in England. Exodus 33 verse 13 and 14. If you are pleased with me, teach me your way, so I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Remember that this nation is your people. The Lord replied, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. Good evening. Have a wonderful night.
Good evening,
God
and thank
continue
you.
to bless you.
Thank you, and thank you as always for your scripture. I do enjoy the fact that you call in every week with a scripture of your choosing, and I'm truly, truly grateful to you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's On the Mark. I'm your host, and I'm taking your calls. Let's go straight back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the air. Hello? No? Call up, please call back 869-469-1616 and 1700. I have been speaking for over an hour, so this is your opportunity to speak now. So I urge you to call in and make use of the opportunity to be on a significant platform where people are listening across the world, and to give you the opportunity to call in and to speak. Let's go back to the phones and say, good evening, you are on the mark.
Mr. Brantley, good night.
Good night to you.
We have a new building going down in Pump Road up here by Penniless too. You forget up here your area too?
Tell us about it. I can't remember everything.
Well, it's a big building put down there. It's soon open soon too. So everywhere got a building put in down in Nevis. And it's a business place. Me not talk that yet.
Alright, how are you?
Oh God. I hear talking about all over. This is Pump Road.
I know exactly the building you're talking about, and you're right. It's a massive investment that is being made there, and we're very grateful. You want to see more, and that happen.
Well, let everybody know that too.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, caller. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, we're taking your calls, and we thank that caller for that. But the reality is, all across Nevis, if you drive around like I do, I go everywhere in Nevis, especially on the weekends. I try to drive into every nook and cranny, and you see so much construction that's going on. Homes are being built, new homes are being renovated, homes are being expanded. You look into some of the government housing developments, and what was a smaller home, some of them now have 2 stories. Some of them have expanded their homes significantly from what they were. And so the truth of the matter is that it requires some level of real, devilish behavior. It's almost demonic for some of the people to continue with this constant diet that Nevis is the worst place in the world. I don't know where it comes from. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hi, good evening, Premier Brantley.
Good evening to you.
Okay, you say you've been driving through the nook and cranny of Nevis. I realize you just did some work on the St. John's basketball court. You said it's for the homecoming. But if you get a chance...
With St. John's, you mean? Church ground?
If you get a chance, please drive by the VOJN basketball court. And there's also a playground at St. James's Primary School.
Yes.
Please drive there and ask yourself if that's acceptable. I'll listen off here.
Alright, well, caller, thank you very much. And if we're going to do that, then I believe hundreds of people are going to call and find someplace else that needs developing as well. That is and goes without saying. Just as you have called and talked about VOJN and St. James Primary School, I can tell you that, for example, at VOJN, we have developed a fine playing field in the parish of St. James. Other parishes are complaining and saying, well, what about us? Why can't we have something similar? That is the nature of things. It doesn't, however, discount the fact that all around this island you're seeing improvements. We have been systematically, for example, improving our sporting facilities. They will not all be done at once. It is impossible to think that that could be the case. But you can't deny that something is happening good because you say, oh well, you fix the road in town, but up in Gingerland Road got some potholes. No. You say the road in town is lovely, it's nicely and beautifully done, I'm proud of that. And then you say, in addition, however, remember Gingerland Road needs to be done. That to me is how we understand that. But we will not be defined by the fact that the VOJN court needs resurfacing. We will get to it. And that is sometimes the thing, because when you see you fix a problem or you say you improve here, you improve there, the negativity that comes, they can't complain with that anymore, so they turn to the next thing and they say, oh, what about that over there, that no do yet. And so that is, as I said, there's always work to be done, caller. So we're not shying away from that. If there's work to be done at St. James, at VOJN, at the VOJN basketball court, wherever there's work to be done, we will get to it. But when we get to it, and as we get to it, I hope that those in Nevis who benefit from it will also say, like this lady said, well done. That is all. Let's go back to the phones. We've lost that caller. Caller, please call back in. Do we have somebody holding? No? Caller, please call back in 869-469-1616 or 1700. Please be patient with us. So, because that's what usually is done. That immediately as you start to talk about the positives, there are some who's going to say, what about this? And what about that? And we could, what about all of our lives? Because if we just bought 2 brand new ambulances at the hospital, I assure you somebody would say, why didn't you get 4? They forget that we didn't have any before. We never had a new ambulance before. We got 2 at once. But that is the nature of things. And I just want to encourage our people. Pretty much that's what I'm doing tonight. Encourage our people. At the end of the day, this is our Nevis, you know. And if the Lord will have it that tomorrow the government changes and a new set of people come in, what do you think? They're going to suddenly start to love the place that they said was so terrible just the day before? I remember hearing on the transition and the government change, tonight you're gone home, next people in tomorrow, so suddenly Nevis nice. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Perez.
Yes, good evening.
I think you're kind of missing the point, because you specifically fixed up the St. John's basketball court. You advertise it on your Facebook. This is the homecoming. You're fixing up St. John's. So why not fix up all the courts and say, because if everybody's going to come home for Culturama 50, fix up all the courts and everybody's going to have a homecoming. St. James, St. John's, St. George, St. Paul's, and St. Thomas's. But you specifically put all the emphasis into St. John's.
Caller, that is not accurate. If you're going to call and you're going to,
you're saying you did not post it on your Facebook.
Caller.
No, you're saying you did not post it on Facebook.
Caller. I believe you're the same. Caller, please. I believe you might be the same caller who called last week, because you've come back with the same temperament. On this show, let me try to explain it again. I'm going to say it slow. On this show, we have conversations. We don't shout at each other. We talk to each other. And so if you seek to make a point, I seek to respond so that you can understand me and I can understand you. I have said it slowly, caller, so that you can understand what I'm trying to tell you. St. John's is not church ground. Matter of fact, if you knew anything about St. John's, you would know that there is a court up in Brown Pasture, there's a court in Church Ground, there's a court in Brown Hill, there's a court in Bath. Those are the ones I can think of off my hand, off the cuff. What I said, and perhaps sometimes maybe you read hastily or you don't understand what you read. The Church Ground community, forgive me, is having a reunion. They said to me that they will be using the court in Church Ground as the epicenter for their reunion. And they wanted the court fixed up for that purpose. And so I, yes, would have put some effort into that, because the Church Ground community approached the government on that basis. No other court in St. John's has been fixed up. So I just want to make that clear, because it seems to me that you maybe don't understand quite properly what it is you read, or maybe you don't want to understand, I don't know. But if you're going to call in we can help each other. And if I'm speaking too quickly, just tell me slow down. We can help each other. So we have a conversation on this show. That is what we seek to do. Let's go back to the phones and see if somebody else is holding. Good evening, caller. You're on the air.
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening to you.
I'm good, thanks. This is Elton Marcosal. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm well, thank you.
Mr. Brantley, I didn't start listening to the show right from 8 o'clock, so I don't know if you addressed it. What is going on with the water up in Hamilton?
I do not know. I have had no report on water in Hamilton. We have had, through the water department, some rationing of water. That is nothing new. It has been going on for the last few weeks. But I was not informed that there was anything in Hamilton in particular happening today. So I will have to check with Minister Brand on that as the responsible minister for water. If he's listening, he can certainly call in and share some information, but I am not aware.
Well, as we speak, I have no water.
Okay.
And a couple of days ago, we had no water for 18 hours. So if Mr. Brand can address that, that would be great. Also, I remember the times when very few people in Nevis had a car. But at the moment, Mr. Brantley, you did say everyone now have a car. I do not have a car right now, Mr. Brantley, so some of us are suffering because of that, right? But that is, I'm not calling to say it's your fault. I'm just saying, not all of us have a car, right? But if you can address the water for me, I'd appreciate that.
All right. So thank you very much for that. And as I said, I hope Mr. Brand is listening. The numbers to call Mr. Brand, 469-1616, 469-1700, or any member of your team who can shed some light. Caller, I do not know. As I said, I did not get a report prior to coming here about a water situation. Let me go back to the phones. It is 20 past the hour of 9 o'clock. We're taking your calls. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Yeah, Mark.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. When you have to tell the car that room wasn't built in a day.
No, man, they don't want to hear that.
Yeah, you have to tell the car that was falling.
No, they don't want to hear that, because as far as they're concerned, once they say something, that somebody must jump.
And Mark,
yes.
Mark, also, my good friend Gio did the best he has done since he started singing character. And I feel like he's going to make it all the way to place in this year. And thank you for contributing throughout the years to Culturama character. And now I'm inviting everyone to Hard Times on Sunday for our family fun day. We still in need of sponsorship. Anybody can contact me or contact Micah. On Sunday we will be having dominoes, cricket, fun eating, beer drinking, 100-meter dash, sack races, and then we'll have this year we have bunch classes for the children. So we're planning to make it one of the biggest fun they ever held on Nevis. So Mark, have a good night.
All right, thank you very much for that, and thank you for the call. And of course, I encourage everyone to go out and be a part of this show as well, and to go out and be a part of your celebration day in Hard Times. I did promise you a contribution. I haven't gotten it to you yet, but I haven't forgotten you, and I think you know that you can count on me. Let's go back to the phones and continue to take your calls. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Yeah, one of the main places in Nevis that I want to really make a big effort and look at is when you get at Cage Bay, drive up from Cage Bay through Fountain, go down to Camps. I think that road needs some real assistance. That need looking after. For a number of years we've been hearing about that road and nobody making no effort to do nothing to the road. So one of these days shortly, I want to make a quick drive to there, look at it and see if we'll get it fixed for Culturama, please.
All right. Thank you, caller. I can answer you right now and tell you that it will be impossible to fix that road for Culturama. I'm not even going to pretend it is a serious bit of engineering that is required. I know the road very well. In fact, I drive it very often. So I have a very clear understanding of that road and the condition of that road. And that is part of the difficulty in terms of what that entails. That is a major bit of construction that is necessary in relation to that particular road. We have committed, and we have said time and time again, that we will look at that road, that is that whole area going from Fountain into the Mount Lily area. That area is pretty bad, that needs some work. The area coming up Westbury is still in fairly good shape, but certainly from Fountain going into Mount Lily needs some work. So caller, I'm aware of it, but it would not be possible to get that done before Culturama, and I'm not going to sit here tonight and pretend that we can work miracles. That is a major project, and it has to be costed and dealt with as a major project. But I can assure you that that is one of the projects that we will get to, as we say, as we go. We try to do projects one at a time. We are now finishing Butlers. Butlers is all but finished. I think there's just one more asphalt layer to be done. That was a major project. We're finishing Brownhill. That too was a very major project. And then we have some projects to do at Pinnes and at the Bath Stream to get those ready for Culturama and to get those projects completed. And then we'll have to look to see what other projects we have left to do, including Church Ground, including a road there at Brown Pasture, Borden Pasture area. The residents have been crying out for a while. They've signed a petition. I want them to know that we have not forgotten them. That road is currently out to bid. That's the last word I had. And certainly we will be getting to the roads as we go. But caller, that particular road that you've identified is a major road, a major undertaking. And so we will not be able to do that for Culturama. And so we hope that the residents, they will bear with us, but have our assurance that just as we did Brownhill, just as we did Hanley's Road, just as we did Bath, just as we did Butlers and Shaw's Road, just as we did Brazier's, we will get to you as well. And that is our commitment, and I believe you can take the commitments of this government to the bank, because we always deliver. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 25 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock, and we're taking your calls. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call. It is 25 minutes past, and if you're just tuning in, you're listening to On the Mark, straight talk across the Narrows, and I'm your host, Mark Brantley. Just to remind our friends and family in Canada that we will be in Canada this Sunday, June 16th from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Venue Event Space, 2800 Highway 7, Vaughan, Ontario. $130 admission will get you in. That includes a 3-course meal. It will be an elegant affair. And why are we there? It's an annual fundraising event for the Circle of Care. St. Kitts Nevis Circle of Care is continuing its work to provide for seniors and the indigent of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's go back to the phones and take your calls. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening to you.
First of all, I'd like to commend Mr. Weber Herbert and Van Radio for the news item they brought about on the 10th of June and the details that they went into on that news item. I think it was very educational, you know.
What was the news item about, caller?
10th of June.
Oh, okay.
And it was, I think they deserve some commendation because they went into a lot of details, and it took a lot of courage for Mr. Weber Herbert to do that, you know. The second thing, I want to condemn the Evans Gillette and the administration for the silence in the bloodshed in Gaza and for the genocide that is about to happen in Sudan. We have a moral, we don't have economic power, we don't have no military power, we have a moral voice that must be heard in the world. We shouldn't be no vassal state for America and no England who control our foreign policy. In an era like this, when we have been through so much suffering, that is 400 years now, we are silent in the midst of all this suffering in Africa and in Gaza. But where's our moral position? We're just into capitalism, making money for ourselves. I grew up hearing injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. Have we forgotten those texts? Have we? I mean, it is sad when I hear this kind of thing. And the next thing again, the system that I always tell you about. It is what caused all this problem. How much percent of the people in Nevis vote for you? It's not 90%. It's a large amount of the population that is left out of government. The system must be changed to incorporate more people, everybody in some way in government. This European device system, it is meant to keep us in a crab in a barrel mentality, fighting against one another and pulling on water just to achieve power. Whether you were in opposition, you would be doing the same thing too. I don't condone what they're doing. I condemn it. And we need to reach out and change the system. As they were saying, if we have constitutional reform, we are there. We need it. I mean, I'm mourned when I hear this kind of, you're politicking, you're campaigning, but the people need unity as much as they need leadership. Unity, unite the people of Nevis and Nevis. You have a small country, it is possible. Reach out, involve people from the outside of the political unit to bring all it together. This is what's needed. You see what's happening in the outer world, they're attacking us. Where we get our bread and money from in St. and Nevis, they're attacking it now. The program. If we are not divided, if we are not united, they will destroy the program and send us back to the World Bank to power and put a nose wrong in it. Give thanks.
All right, thank you very much for your view. Always strongly expressed. I can't say that I agree with everything that you say, but certainly, as I've always said, this is a forum where we exchange viewpoints. We may not always agree, but certainly we have no need to be disagreeable or to get upset with each other, and your views are always clearly expressed, and I must say always respectfully expressed as well, and so I thank you for your views. We have a number of issues that you have raised in terms of Gaza, in terms of, as you said, the moral voice of the country, and really it will be for the foreign minister and the team to set the tone in terms of our foreign policy and our diplomacy for the country. That is no longer, that cup has passed from me, and that is now with the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas as our foreign minister, and certainly he'll be guided by the cabinet, which is led by Prime Minister Drew, on those matters. Those are delicate matters for a number of reasons, but I agree with you that we ought to have a very clear position in relation to some of these matters. You do say that injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, and I agree with you. And we ought to speak out about it wherever it raises its head. You did say about opposition, if I were in opposition, I'd be doing the same thing. I disagree with you. I was in opposition, and I believe I provided a strong opposition, but my opposition was focused on the policies and shortcomings of the government. I was not in the business of calling down Nevis. I was not in the business of saying Nevis is the worst place in the world, that everybody in Nevis is poor, that Nevis is struggling and everybody are dead or hungry. I am not in that. So I want to make that very clear. I am division through and through. If you cut me, the blood that run out mark Nevis. If you cut me and it runs out and it forms a puddle, that puddle will be in the shape of Nevis. Nevis is me and I am Nevis. And I don't apologize for that, caller, that I always will stand with my island Nevis. This is what brought me. My neighbor string ain't buried in a hospital like some people. My neighbor string buried in Scarborough. In Scarborough is where my neighbor string buried. We didn't go hospital. I don't know, my mother couldn't afford to go hospital, but I think a midwife came and I was born right there in Scarborough. So I know what it's like, and when I talk about Nevis is because I've walked the streets. There's no place on this island here that I have not gone. I know this island. I love this island. And that is why I'm saying, when some spend all their time crying it down and trying to say and paint a picture that we are the worst. Sometimes when I listen to them, sometimes they send me the clips. When I listen to the clips, you would think that we are worse than any country. We're worse than Ukraine right now, which is at war. We're worse than Gaza, which is at war. That's how some paint us to be. If I were a stranger looking at Nevis to invest or looking at Nevis to visit, and I listened to some of the programs or heard some of the narrative, I would stay far from this place. Far. That is what some of them are hoping to achieve. You don't find it interesting, caller, that every investor who comes to Nevis, the NRP attacks them? Every single one who comes, they attack. There's an investor who has come, said they're going to build a hotel. They have not attacked that investor yet, but I know why. I know why they haven't attacked that investor yet, because some of them are working for that investor. That's the only reason. But every single investment that comes, they go on the attack. That's what they do. No matter who it is, no matter what they bring into the table, they start to find a way to come at them, to attack them, to say all manner of things. You remember a gentleman came, he said he wanted to assist us with our airport. What did the NRP do? 6 of them go out, they stand up in the sun with some placard, because it looks like their marches don't get much beyond 6 people. So they're over there with 6 people in a placard. Say they're protesting against the airport. Why would you protest against the airport? People don't want development. Wherever you are, caller, you wouldn't like to be able to take a plane and land straight in Nevis from where you're coming from? And the same people who are protesting the development of the airport are the same ones who jump on the same social media every day to say, oh, imagine we got to go Sinkis to take a flight. So they don't want to go Sinkis to take a flight, but they don't want the airport in Nevis developed either. You see the conundrum? They're the ones who railed against the water taxi facility. Railed against it. We're going to be destroying beach. We're going to be doing all kinds of things. Now you see them. They high heels and stockings getting on the boat. You can't believe sometimes. It's the same people. Let's go to the phones. Let's continue to take some calls here. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good night, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening to you.
Okay, so while we're talking about people who bashing development and projects, you remember when you objected to the fuel sewage project over at Long Point? Also, the waterfront and the fisheries project in Charlestown. What became of that? And can you recall vividly that you objected to those projects? I thank you.
Thank you, caller. And yes, I absolutely objected to both projects. I objected to the fuel tank project, 1, because it was never a real project, and 2, it would have destroyed our environment here on the island of Nevis. I had that view then, I hold that view now. In relation to the fisheries project in Charlestown, what I objected to and what my party objected to was the location. So let me be clear. Because we actually, when we got into government, offered the Japanese the alternative of doing the project closer to Vaughan Radio in the Bath Village area. And so we were not opposed to the project of the fisheries, we were opposed to the location. And caller, we had good reasons for that. How are you going to put a fisheries complex right there at the bottom of Prince William Street? You have the bogs on one side, you have the ocean in front of you, you have our Charlestown port, our main port right there. That is the area where our cruise ships and cruise passengers come in. How are we going to put a fisheries thing there? Do we know that even now, when there are cruise ships in our waters and they're tendering, that not even the fishermen can use that area because it has to be a security cordon? There was no thought that went into that location. And we said we cannot have downtown Charlestown tied up with a fisheries complex. Let it go to a fishing village like Bath Village. And that is what we offered the Japanese. In the end, they basically said that they did not wish to do it in Bath. And we said, well, if you don't want to do it in Bath, because that to us was the best location to put it. Bath is a traditional fishing village. So we were opposed to the location of that project, not to the project itself, because we tried to get the project shifted elsewhere. But that fuel dump project that you all had, absolute abject nonsense. You're going to tell me that you're going to store all these millions of gallons of fuel in Nevis, and then what happens? I went to the town hall meeting, I recall there was one in Bath, and these people are going to look at somebody like me who did go to school and said to me that not even a drop of oil, there's no risk of even a drop of oil going into our ocean. Well, I want to know how that could be. Because all around the world, I know you're handling oil, you're handling refinery. You have a huge risk of oil spills. So call it to me, that project was never a real project. We did our research on the investors, couldn't find them. these were not real people for the real project. The fisheries was a real project, but the location of that project we did not agree with. And so one thing about me, I am prepared to stand by my views. But let me just say this, that saying that a project is bad for the island, or saying that we did not agree with the location of a project, is a far different horse to continually cussing Nevis and saying that everything in Nevis is wrong and everything in Nevis is bad. And I hope you can understand that distinction. Let's go to the phones. We continue to take your calls. We have just about 22 minutes left. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Okay, so Mr. Brantley, basically you're saying you cost the people of Nevis $30 million. Because if you ask them to move the project to bad, and it's been years now, almost 5 years or more, and nothing has been done, Japanese have left the high and dry, your government has cost the people $30 million.
That's your conclusion? Okay, we'll call it that is your conclusion. Then put out a Facebook post on that and say that we cost the people $30 million, because I don't think you really listen to anything that I just said. And that is the problem sometimes why some children don't learn in school. Because teacher is talking but them not listen, because they already have in their head what they have in their head. They say 1 + 1 = 3. Teacher said no, 1 + 1 is equal to 2. They say but teacher is 3. You said no, it's 1 + 1 is 2. He said but teacher is 3. So we're not learning, and then you just call in and then you hang up the phone, and so you don't allow yourself an opportunity to ask questions and get an answer. And perhaps we can, through so doing, educate each other and edify each other a bit more. So I don't know that we cost the people of Nevis anything. What I will say to you is this, caller, that governments must contend with development, and governments must determine what development they feel is best for their country. No country can tell you as a government, and I can't tell Nevis, they can't tell Singis, they can't tell Antigua, what kind of development they will give you, where they're going to give you, how they're going to give you. You have a right to say no, that does not fit into what we would like for our island. And I don't know about you, I don't certainly know about the NRP and how the NRP does things, but the way the CCM does things, we say what is in the best interest of Nevis. And I cannot find a justification for building a fisheries complex at the bottom of Prince William Street, where we will ensure that we can't use our port down there for cruise or for anything else in the future, because we have decided to use that location with the bogs and the wetlands on one hand and the pier, Charlestown Pier on the other, as a fisheries complex. If that is offensive, then so be it. That is why people have voted, and I believe we've had at least 4 elections, maybe 5 since then. And you know what, caller? You lose all. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
And I don't know about you.
Hello, caller, please listen to the phone. Listen to the phone, not the radio. Hello? Please move away from the radio, listen to your phone. Go ahead. Caller? We are listening, we are hearing your radio or your computer. You need to move away from it and focus on the phone, otherwise we won't be able to hear you clearly.
You can hear me now?
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Alright. Don't let the people stress you out. When NRP, when Paul was in there, nobody was making no comments and nothing there. Then they let me how Nevis was. But now because Nevis get into how it's supposed to be, then for kind of comments on it. Some of them is such ungrateful. But you see God do a lot and Jesus do a lot. And what we do to him. So God be good to you, and it will be good to Nevis and his people. So you don't let them stress you out from foolishness. And you have a nice night.
Thank you very much. And just so
you're welcome.
Okay, thank you for your call. Just so you know, I am not stressed, you know. I like the engagement, because I like when people call in and we can debate some of these issues and set the record straight. Because this is 2024. NRP was booted out of office after they tried to thief the election in 2011. And they get caught with their hand in the cookie jar. They were declared null and void. By 2013, the people get rid of them. And they have been out in the wilderness ever since then. We went back to the polls in 2015. They lost. We went back in 2017. They lost. We went back in 2020. They lost. And we went twice in 2022. And they lost both times. That's 5 elections since then. So if at this stage you still thought our fishery is complex, well, the people have voted 5 times since then. And for those 5 times, they have rejected the NRP and their silly stories. So people at the end of the day understand. They understand real governance, they understand real leadership, and they understand where the country is and where the country is going, and the leadership that they have. Steady, sensible, sober leadership, that's what people vote for. Let's go back to the phones. It is 16 minutes to the hour. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Mr. Brantley?
Yes, good evening.
Mr. Hull, I heard you say that you're traveling to Canada.
Yes, I hope to.
Can I ask if you're traveling with diplomatic passport?
Why would you ask me that?
Well, I
What
want
is
to
the
know
relevance?
if you need a visa to go to Canada when you're traveling on diplomatic passport.
I don't know if you do, but I would not. I would. My arrangements have been sorted out for me already, but I don't know if you would need a visa if you're a diplomat. Perhaps not. I'm not sure.
Okay, but would you say right now getting a visa to go to Canada is a lot easier than it was, let's say, 3 or 4 years ago?
Absolutely, it is. Yes.
Okay. I'm having a little bit of problem, but I will sort that out in due time. I hope you have a good time in Canada. It should be warm enough, and safe trip.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much for that, Mr. Hull. And yes, I hope to be in Canada. And since Mr. Hull raised it, I'm plugging it tonight. We will be in Canada this Sunday, June 16th, from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. The venue, Event Space, 2800 Highway 7, Vaughan, Ontario. It is a fundraising event for the St. Kitts Nevis Circle of Care as they continue to provide for the seniors and indigent of St. Kitts and Nevis. The ticket price is $130. It includes a 3-course meal, and I will be the guest speaker and featuring, of course, our premier artist, Mr. Vaughn Anslin. He will be in attendance as well. And so we ask you to come out to get your tickets. You can contact Leo Estridge at 416-252-7681, Sherma Daniel, Janet Maynard at 416-616-0297, or Tara Liebert Hodge, I think the surname is. I'm sorry, but some of my flyer here is cut off. Or you can email skncoc2008@gmail.com. Let's go back to the phones. We're taking your calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Honorable Brantley.
Good evening to you.
My scripture tonight is taken from Psalm chapter 1, and I'm reading
Yes.
the 6 verses. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the shaft which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. Good night to you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for that beautiful scripture. It is just about 13 minutes or so to go, so I know we can take some calls, and we're doing exactly that. 869-469-1616 and 1700. Those are the numbers to call, and we want you to be a part of the show. So please call in and be a part of the show this evening. We're having a good time here tonight. It is an interesting show, to be sure, and we're having an opportunity to set the record straight in relation to some matters. It appears as if the truth is causing some consternation in some quarters, and all I'm saying to our colleagues in the NRP and the opposition, please just love Nevis. You say you love Nevis, show you love Nevis. At the end of the day, the people are going to take care of who governs Nevis. But whether you are in office or you're out of office shouldn't impact whether or not you love Nevis. Nevis should not be the worst place in the world because you're out of office. And then if tomorrow you get in office, you want all of us to jump up and say Nevis nice because you're now in the chair. That's not the way it works. Demonstrate your love for Nevis. You see how a while ago I was able to tell this caller what my position was in relation to the fisheries complex and in relation to the other bogus project that they had about fuel storage. I was able to articulate that because it was not based on any anti-Nevis sentiment. It was based on principled opposition to one, which was a bogus project, this oil bunker foolishness, and to the other, that yes, we want the fisheries complex, but the Japanese should not tell us where they're going to put it. We should tell them where we want it. And you cannot justify, any way, shape or form, that putting a sprawling fisheries right there at the bottom of Prince William Street. I just want people to understand, Prince William Street, just below the courthouse, you go down that street there, that's where the fisheries complex was supposed to go. And the impact of that for decades to come on our ability to use our Charleston port, even to expand it, if a government were to decide to expand it to have a cruise facility, a brothing facility, you couldn't do it there. And so we said sensibly, not there. Find another location for it. That is not anti-Nevis, that is a principled position. Based on good sense and logic, we didn't just say we don't want it. We explained that we want it, but we would like it elsewhere because of the constraints and how it would prevent us from developing the area in the future. Let's go back to the phones. We have 10 minutes left. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good night to you, Brantley.
Good evening to you.
Premier Brantley, I don't even want to hear nothing about things are not good in Nevis. Just this afternoon, a gentleman from Guyana, who I know well, he lived in Bath many years, approached me and said to me, well, he had spoken to me before about it and said, when you're going to sell me the piece of land, my friend? I said, boy, I have to get it straightened out. He said, man, I want you to hurry up and sell me the piece of land. I said that to say, if some divisions are here and have not been advancing themselves, well, let them know that people are coming here from other countries and advancing themselves and looking for land and building house. But I can testify, I have been many places, and I will say, I don't see any part of the earth right now where you can live better than in St. Kitts Nevis. Good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and thank you for that. I believe that that is the sentiment in terms of what we're doing here. We're not saying it's perfect. We're not saying it's perfect, or no way is perfect. But here on this island of Nevis and in the wider federation, you have a quality of life that is second to none. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yeah, Mr. Brantley, it's
Yes.
also Marcus Hall again. Is everybody who come to St. Kitts Nevis from CARICOM, do they require alien land holding license to buy land?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
They require the alien land holding license, but traditionally the fee is waived.
All right. Okay. So the Treaty of Sadaramas doesn't negates that.
Well, I don't have the text of the treaty in front of me, so I can't speak to the treaty specifically. What I can tell you, though, is that I believe that there was a carve-out for the smaller islands because of our small land space. Right? Because if you were to allow people to come in and to buy in an unrestricted way, then you could run out of land very quickly.
Yes.
Right? So, especially these small islands, they retain the inland land holding license just to give the government some level of control. But, as I said, there's normally a 10% fee that is applicable. That does not apply here.
And is there a size of land stipulation in that?
We don't have a stipulation. The rule of thumb that is applied, certainly by the Nevis Island Administration, is half acre.
Okay.
But it is something that, for example, if you're selling an existing property,
Yeah.
say you have a house on an acre, we wouldn't require that you cut off half of it, half of the acre, cut off half acre. We would allow you to sell it as an entire property.
Okay.
Right? So some people here, as you know, may have a house on 3 acres of land.
Yes.
They may have a house on 5 acres of land. So we tend to allow people to sell it if it's already in a single dwelling, a single property of that nature. But if usually somebody is just buying vacant land, we don't like to go beyond the half acre unless the people have a developmental plan. So if they have a plan where they tell you they're going to be building villas or they're going to be building a hotel or, that kind of thing, or they're building a commercial building, then we would look at it. But the rule of thumb is we try to keep people who are just buying vacant land to half acre or under.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. We have 6 minutes left. Can we get a few more calls in? I believe we can. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers if you want to be a part of this show this evening. And since there's a lull in the calls, let me again remind Canadians to come look for me. I'm coming to look for you. Come look for me too. Circle of Care. This coming Sunday, June 16th, from 2 p.m. till 8 p.m. It will be an elegant affair. Just $130 is going to get you in, and it includes a 3-course meal. And the venue, Event Space, 2800 Highway 7, Vaughan, Ontario. Circle of Care, raising money to help the indigent and the elderly. Vaughan Hansen is going to be there, and I will be there to talk to you as well. Let's go to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Okay, we've lost that caller. Caller, please call back in. 869-469-1616 or 1700. Those are the numbers. We have about 5 minutes, so we can certainly take some calls. Let's try again. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening to you. Good
I was
evening.
over in Nevis Sunday, right? And
Yeah.
I get this taxi, come back down. When we entered the building, it was a group of us. One lady said, wow, it's classic to the one in St.
Caller, we're getting a bad feedback. Are you on a cell phone? I don't know what happened. Hello?
Hi.
Caller, could you... Hello? Are you there? Okay, caller, could you please try call back in? I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened, but we started getting this horrible feedback. So try me right now again. The lines are free. 469-1616, 469-1700. Either of those lines to try and get back in. I do apologize to you. I don't know what happened, but sometimes we have these technical glitches. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just tuned in, we have 5 minutes left. You're listening to On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, and we've been having a good show this evening, good conversation, and let us go straight back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, I can hear you.
I was saying, I was over in Nevis on Sunday, and I catch the taxi come back down. So when we entered the building, there was a group of us. The lady who was in front, she said, wow, this is classy to the one in St. Kitts. It is nice. Don't worry with them. They bang them out. This won't stop.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. And I think that it's not that we're trying to compare and contrast, but I certainly believe that people who are fair and people who are reasonable. I travel this entire region. I entertained some investors here the other day. We had dinner at a place, it's called Bananas up in Hamilton. And it was a table of about 16 or 18 persons, all of whom had come in to look at opportunities here in Nevis. And two of the gentlemen said that they travel frequently. And they listed out Bahamas, Barbados, and Belize. Those three countries, they say, they go to for fishing. They do a lot of fishing, they say. And the gentlemen said to me, they said, "Sir, we just want to tell you that you have the best roads that we have seen in the Caribbean." You know that make me feel? You know that made me feel when they say that they frequent Barbados, they frequent Bahamas, and they frequent Belize for fishing. And they want to say to me that we have the best roads that they've seen in the region. And right here in Nevis, people are driving them every day. And I said, nothing happened in Nevis. Nevis is the worst. You know, that is the thing that I keep talking about. These people came and they saw and felt moved to comment that we had the best roads that they had seen in the region. In terms of our road quality, the maintenance of our roads, the accessibility. And you got people here, drive on them every day. And cuss every day. You know, if it wasn't so serious, sometimes if you don't laugh, you're going to cry. You know, cuss every day. I want to know people going to just get up every day and cuss, you know. Lord, I'm at an age now where when I wake up in the morning, I'm so happy. I say, Father, thank you for giving me another day. So how you could get up every morning and just cuss so? No, I don't understand it. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. It looks like Von Radio wants to get me out of here because I have 1 minute left when they strike up the band. But that means the band, once the band strikes up, you know the rules, we gotta go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. I continue to invite all of our friends in Canada. Man, even if you're there in New York, drive over the border. Come see us. We're going to be there in Canada this weekend, this Sunday, and it's going to be a beautiful time at the Venue Event Space, 2800 Highway 7, Vaughan, Ontario. St. Kitts Nevis Circle of Care. Vaughan Anslin is going to be there. Well, wait. They take Vaughan Anslin to Vaughan, Ontario. I just realized. Well, Vaughan, you're really powerful. You're going home. Vaughan Anslin will be there, and I will be there as a speaker. And I am looking forward so much to engaging with our brothers and sisters in Canada. That's our show. This show is rebroadcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, VON Radio. Thank you for all who tuned in, all those who are online. We had a good time tonight. That's our show. Good night, and God bless you.
Views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
With all the power from the tower, this is the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, VON Radio, from the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.